start using, science will have an answer someday. I believe in the methodology of science, and I will have an answer someday. Then you're using the wrong tool, my friend.
But okay, a good question to ask is: do you believe maths exists?
Maths is abstract.
Maths, 2 and 2 is 4. Right?
It's abstract.
But it's abstract. But does it exist in some kind of, what Plato,
it's not tangible, if that's what you're
said
asking.
It exists in some kind of realm.
Look, numbers are abstract, yeah. So just like the term infinity, or just like the term, even direction.
Exist outside your head.
Sorry?
Did they exist outside your head, maths?
No, it's within my intellect.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you know the metaphysical exists outside your head? How do you know
whoa! You're asking metaphysical questions.
Yeah, because you're talking about.
Do you believe in metaphysical? Wait. Do you believe in metaphysics first before you ask that question?
Well, no, because it might be in my head.
Okay, let me ask you this: when you say in your head, okay, you're talking about your consciousness, right?
Yeah, my mind, my brain.
Yeah, is your consciousness material or immaterial?
My conscience, that's what they call the hard question.
Exactly.
Because
why do you call that hard question?
Well, because they don't know what the relationship between consciousness is and matter.
No.
Now the thing
because they can only relate to the physical world, and because your consciousness is not something tangible, it's not something they can put in a bottle and observe it. You see what I mean? That's
no. But have you ever been conscious outside of your brain, outside of your body? Have you ever experienced consciousness?
I haven't, but people claim they have.
Yeah, people claim they have.
What is the point you're making?
Then they're alive and they're telling you from a living person's perspective.
What is the point you're making?
What I'm saying is, until we are having this conversation in a metaphysical world where we know it to be true, we are experiencing things through the physical matter, which we know of as the human brain, the human body, the material world. So how do you know when you say consciousness, the hard question, yeah? How do you know when you say consciousness is not dependent on the brain, the neocortex? How do you know that isn't dependent on the brain? Because
the question wasn't about dependence.
The only experience we have is it coming from the brain.
My friend,
do you understand?
My friend, the question wasn't about dependence.
Yeah.
The question was about its nature.
Its nature, yeah.
Yeah, the nature of consciousness. You are conscious as long as you're alive. As soon as you die, you still have your brain, you still have all your organs, but you're not conscious.
You're not conscious.
You see what I mean? So that's the reason this is the hard question of consciousness, because they cannot put it in a material, naturalistic world, and they cannot study it. So the only other possibility I can think of is it has a connection to a metaphysical world.
It might do, but I find it interesting that life ends, as we know, when someone dies. And when they die, you don't see the body jumping around and walking around.
Yeah, you're telling the obvious. What's the point?
What I'm saying is, why not life, as we know it, human life, be dependent on the body? Because when the body is died, it has an accident or it dies of old age, then the body is not animate anymore. So why shouldn't life be dependent on the physical matter of the body? Because
why would life?
By all evidence.
But when you say life, what do you mean by it? Do you mean your physical body?
I think my physical body. I mean,
is that it?
That's the evidence we have.
But hold on. Life doesn't just mean your physical body. Because when you look at a corpse, there's a physical body, but it doesn't have life.
There's no life.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that when that's damaged, what I'm saying is, okay, put it this way.
Something else.
No, but put it this way: if a car engine is damaged in some way, it doesn't function anymore because the parts aren't working anymore. So I'm not saying this is true, by the way, but it might.
You're comparing apples and oranges. Sentient with exactly.
When the body is damaged, or the brain is damaged in some kind of way, the body doesn't function anymore. Then the life goes out.
No. If it's damaged, it still functions.
How do you know?
Have you not seen a person who's vegetable in the hospital? His heart is still beating. You see what I mean? Look, the important thing is this.
Animals die. No,
of course, humans die, animals die. But what I'm saying is that animals and humans, we as believers in God, we believe in God, and God has told us about the soul within animals and humans, and this soul is what keeps you ticking.
Yeah.
It's not your heart, it's not your brain. Yes, there is something which keeps you ticking, because when you die, your heart is there, your brain is there, it's not functioning anymore. Okay, because the soul has been taken away. Now you have died. That is what death means in a theological sense, that your soul separates from the body.
But I don't see any souls. I don't see ghosts.
Exactly, because you are expecting from your physical.
I only see the real world and people that are alive.
Which is my point I was making all along, that you want to use your physical faculties to see the metaphysical.
Yeah,
you can't. You're using the wrong tools.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So how do you know it's there?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Because of these other possibilities, just like you have come to a conclusion, or at least you have discussed.
Not quite.
I know you don't want to use the term conclusion.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah, of course, we all are open-minded, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation. So what I'm saying is that because you have to use deductive analysis to come to certain conclusions, because without that, you will always be asking questions. You see, you won't get an answer. And because as a human being, we want answers.
I do
Yes,
understand that,
we are seeking answers, and that's the reason we ask questions to each other. You see what I mean?
Life is short
Yes.
as well.
Now you see, we have had a long discussion with regards to the physical, metaphysical, our bodies. Yes, with regards to the universe, its origin. Let me ask you this. As someone who believes in God, yes, God has told us that there is a life after death. What is your view about life after that? Do you think there is
of the scriptures and the Quran and the
you forget about
Bible.
forget about everybody else. You as a person of intellect, you must have thought of this question. Do you think there is a life or any existence once you die?
Well, the one thing that I'd say to that is Descartes' saying, "Cogito ergo sum," which is "I think, therefore I am."
No, that is because that is existence. That comes into the question of your do you exist?
Do I exist? So
yes.
The only real thing I can say from my perspective is that I would believe me, I want it to be true, that there's a God and that there's a heaven and all that. Don't get me wrong there.
Why do you want it to be true?
I'm not against it.
No, I'm not saying you're against. Why do you want it to be true?
Because I don't want to die. I don't want to come to dust.
Oh, that's inevitable.
And, to nothing. And I want to live in some kind of realm where I am fulfilled. In some kind of way that I'm not on earth. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
By the way, death is inevitable regardless of your belief or disbelief in God. Do you agree?
We agree on that.
Yes. Let me give you a scenario.
But I do want to believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and I hope you will, inshallah, God willing, one day. Let me ask you this question. You see, at present, at this time, at this moment, do you actually believe that there is a possibility that there is life after death?
There's a possibility, yeah.
Okay.
On a percentage, I would say I'm about 70% sure that it isn't, and about 30% uncertain that maybe there is.
Okay.
So I give you.
So the uncertainty is there. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, good answer. Yeah. Okay. Let me give you a scenario in which there is 100% impossibility of life after death.
If there's 100% of what?
Impossible. Let's say there's no life after that at all.
Oh, and they prove it?
No, I'm giving you a scenario.
Oh, okay,
I'm giving you a scenario in which there is no life after that.
Right.
That when you die and when I die, we both perish, and that is the end of it. Yes.
Okay.
So dust to dust.
We can imagine. Yeah.
Yes, ashes to ashes. Whatever.
Let's imagine that. Yeah.
Yes. Let's imagine that. Someone who believes in God, someone who abides by his whole life believing in God and abides by his laws, yes, to the best of his ability or her ability, has that person lost anything? In that scenario, the one I gave you.
Yeah, I thought of that before. That the person that does believe in God and life after death.
Yeah, and at the end, nothing is there.
They're going to die.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to become of anything.
Exactly.
Have they lost anything? They're exactly the same.
Okay.
As the person. In fact, they probably gain something in that they at least believe that something's going to exist after death, even though there isn't.
Okay.
So I would say they're living a nice dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say they led a moral life.
Yeah,
at least that is the some of the positive aspect of that.
It's a pleasant dream.
Yeah. And because they ended up and then they realized that there is nothing there, that's the end of it. They haven't lost anything, have they?
They will never.
Yeah, of course, they will never know that. You're right, because your intellect and your what do you say? Your consciousness dies as well. But whether someone who believes in God, okay, or someone who doesn't believe in God, in both cases, the end result was none of them actually lost anything other than their life. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, that's
now
true.
let me flip the scenario. in which there is 100% possibility and reality that there is a life after that and there is God Almighty.
Flip the switch.
Flip the scenario.
Let's flip the scenario.
Yes.
So now God exists.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So now this is the other possibility. By the way, this is called the Pascal's wager. I don't know if you heard of it. Yes?
Yeah, I heard it.
It's something done by a scientist, by Pascal. So the other scenario is this, that there is really God who exists and there is going to be a real day of judgment, a real accountability after this life has ended. Yes? Now, in this scenario, we got again the same two people.
Is it Occam's razor?
No.
Pascal's
Yeah,
razor.
Occam's razor, probably you could fix it, you could use it in this as well. Now, what I'm saying is that in this scenario, again, you got the same two people. One who believes in God and one who doesn't believe in God. Yes?
Yeah, I know.
The one who believes in God and the one who does not believe in God, who has gambled more or who has risked more? Who risked more?
I know, yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. But what I would say...
Who do you think risked more? Tell me.
Well,
From the two.
I mean, the risk is greater on the side of the atheist, the person that
Who has not
doesn't believe in God.
who has not prepared anything at all for his afterlife, because he was, like I said, 70% certain there is no afterlife. Yes, or in some cases 100%. But you see, this is what you're playing with. This is a risk that you're taking in your life, because until you breathe your last, you have the opportunity to believe in God. Hear me out.
It's an existential choice.
No, hear me out. And then I'll let you respond. So
It's a choice.
This is, yes, of course it's a choice. But it's also a risk you're taking, my friend. Do you